Here's where I am currently on the Moogle polystyrene drawing project. Primarily by doing outlines, finishing outlines of the clouds on the front side of the drawing. Now, what I've done most recently is finish this side of the Moogle's head, finishing it onto this side of the polystyrene block. I worked on the polystyrene drawing both within the past few hours using these Sharpie markers, and not these in particular. These are my lightest hue of blue and will be used for this area and this area. These are my lightest hue of purple and were used for these clouds. Initially, before realizing they were too light, and so I used this one, my second lightest hue of purple, and then my second lightest hue of blue was used for these clouds, the clouds up here. This one I might use if I decide it's needed to finish outlining the 50 crate on the front side. It's likely fine as is. But I'll have to make a final decision on that. I recall pulling an all-nighter today. With plans on staying up until 4 p.m. in an effort to move towards fixing my sleep schedule. Though I recall around 1:30 p.m. feeling tired since around noon. Since 11:30 in the morning at the earliest. And falling asleep around 1:45 p.m. 2 p.m. And then waking up around somewhere between 6 and 7 p.m. Around 6 in the morning, I had with my first cup of plain coffee a cheesecake Danish that my dad got from the salty bread while at work today. Then around 12:15 p.m., I had the leftovers from the January 30 dinner with the 4 remaining Big Newtons. Out of a sleeve of them that my dad's mom gave to him during a visit at least 6 months earlier from my recollection. I recall having 2 full cups of coffee and a partial third cup that was somewhere between a quarter of a cup of plain coffee and a third of a cup of plain coffee. Roughly from 6 in the morning to somewhere between 8 in the morning and 9 in the morning. I first worked on the Mughal polystyrene drawing project in the hours after finishing the marker tray sort polystyrene ball drawing project. at 6:58 in the morning. But I took the picture for it around noon, as I felt that time would be the best, would be the time of optimal daylight. Essentially ensuring the sun was fully out. Especially since these days, and some days it can be pretty dark in here during the daytime with no artificial light. This is leftover steak from yesterday's dinner and some homemade macaroni salad. That my dad's mom gave to him during a recent visit. I recall it was either yesterday or at least within the past few days. This is a new pastry that my dad got when he stopped by the Salty Bread today. That cheesecake Danish from breakfast, that was from a visit prior to today. Tastes pretty good. I recall my dad said it was called a raspberry something, perhaps something close to a raspberry square. It's got plenty of cinnamon. Frosting and sugar. It's a pretty good pastry. The raspberry tastes pretty good. That was a pretty good pastry. I finally got all of the parts of an assault rifle components that I needed to craft a third grinder to upgrade this grinder to MK3 and increase both my minimum and maximum damage by 10. I recall getting the last parts of an assault rifle component that I needed to start crafting this third grinder. during the early to mid night hours. Or not that long ago. It took at least a day or two of consistently playing this campaign mission, which as of now, I can sometimes successfully win. It's all dependent on whether I defeat this enemy in one shot, or otherwise quite a lot of luck, if not. Something like both of these enemies right next to my character, both missing. And perhaps maybe this enemy missing at least once. I recall primarily spending the morning hours going through my current rotation of games on Congregate, editing the January 30 my dinner video, and between those two tasks, doing bits of work on the Mughal polystyrene drawing project. Though, after finishing editing the January 30 my dinner video, I didn't upload it because at that time it was around noon, and I felt too tired to properly think of a description for the day of January 30 at the time, and so I didn't upload that my dinner video until after I woke up today. After I woke up sometime between 6 and 7 p.m.